Hello, YouTube community. My name's the Jackie with 13, and today is the first day of the rest of my life. So, one of the things that I really wanted this series to be is an open and honest insight into my life. Sometimes I jazz it up a little bit because I want it to look better. But for the most part, I want this to be a place where I can talk to you in whatever fashion that I find available and show you the life that I'm going through. A lot of my life currently hasn't really been videotapable. I wanted to do some stuff this week that I could videotape, and I did a few things this week that I should have videotaped, but that I didn't. A few of those things involved playing with the dog, going to the new gym that we have a membership to, and going to work. Things like that I could have shown you. I also made food. Probably could have shown you that. In the future, those are the types of things that I'd like to show you. But this week, I just didn't have the energy to record, and I didn't feel like trying to make that happen. So instead, I'm just doing this. And this is a much more low effort way of doing things that I don't want to continue into the future. But with how my mindset has been lately, I think just doing something is better than just doing nothing. And that's kind of what I want to do from now on, is something. That way, instead of saying, like, I'm going to do this thing, at least you'll have these lower effort videos of me just talking to the camera, and we can at least begin from there. It's like, okay, this is a way of being able to see the insights into this guy's life. These are the ways that we can see how things are going on, and any particular, problems that are happening that are putting a delay to the different series. We at least get those things. But we don't lose out on our Michael time, where we can watch him and listen to him and all of those good things. So I'm probably already off to a better start than I was last year, simply by doing a follow-up video to when I said that I was going to do something. So that's great. But I'm sure that there's a few questions you guys are wanting to have answered. Number one, where have I been this long while? And I told you that every time there would be a time and a place for everything to be answered. And originally what I wanted to do was answer that in a longer period of time through more creative means. I'm still going to eventually get around to doing that, and it will be hopefully something that I can document the beginning processes of on first day of the rest of my life. But for right now, I haven't had a chance to get around to what I need to do for that. So instead, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you guys. In 2020, I left college because of the pandemic, and I was back at home with me mom and pop. You saw a few videos from that period of time where I got to do some stuff, but in that same period of time, my mental state wasn't in the greatest of places, so I wasn't able to do as much as I would have liked to. In 2021, I was still reeling from the effects of that, and I was finishing up my college degree. So again, not a whole lot of time for you guys to really see what I was up to. And in the end of 2021, I ended up getting a new dog. You may have seen him before in the last episode of First Day of the Rest of My Life. That was a bit more avant-garde. I hope that if you watched it, you at least got some of the messages that I was trying to show you. But I didn't really go in depth into what that was about, and I likely won't for a while. Until somebody starts asking questions, in which case I can answer those. But yeah, that's my new dog that me and my girlfriend got. His name's Bingo. Great dude. He's going to be on First Day quite a few times. I want to introduce him at some point on this show. I also want to introduce our other pets that we have, Harley, which is a black cat, and Lucy, who is our other dog. And of course, I'd like to formally introduce, where she gets to say hi and she's all dolled up and ready for it, my girlfriend Emily, because I want her to become a major part of the First Day series, either as a behind the camera person, because she prefers doing photography, or as somebody who can be an online like personality alongside me. Simply because I love her. I think she's really funny. I think that she has the ability to do that, and that's what I would like to do. That's going to end up being down to her when she wants to do that and when she's ready to do that. But for now, just know that that's kind of where my head is at. And then in 2022, as a result of getting the dog, things were a little bit difficult for me to find housing. My grandparents didn't want to have a dog in the house. That was a thing that they told me from when I was a young kid, that they didn't want to have a dog in the house, or more specifically, my grandfather didn't want to. And so I went and stayed with my grandma Terry for a little bit. That was okay. We had a few disagreements about my relationship with Emily, and we had a few disagreements about how I wanted to live my life and things that I wanted to do. Typical adult kind of stuff. And so I decided in about March of 2022 that I didn't want to live under that condition any longer, and so I moved out to Arkansas. I am currently living with my girlfriend, and we're trying to build a life for ourselves. So that's going to be a main focus of what's the big deal going on with this show. It used to be just about my weight loss journey and trying to keep a mental and positive attitude, but now it's going to shift a little bit more into how we make our lives a little bit better each and every day. I'm going to be honest with you guys. My mental has not been great. It has been low. So even though I've been talking and acting a lot more cheery, it's simply because I'm trying to shine a light in a place when I'm currently very dark. And this YouTube is something that I really care deeply about, and it makes me happy, no doubt. And so there is part of that. But I do want to at least bring up the fact that because I'm not doing super great, the fact that I haven't been on as many videos as I would like to be doing is to be expected. I'm working on it. I'm doing what I can, taking my medications. Got them right here, right next to the bed. And I'm making sure that I'm talking about my feelings. I'm currently on therapy because of the moving situation from last 2022, so 2 years ago now. And it's been more or less just saving up, trying to make enough money to get by without it being eaten away by gas and groceries and food, which has been a hard struggle. We're getting somewhere finally, but it's not been an easy route, and we're just going to leave it at that for right now. In 2023, I tried to make that comeback. I was really excited to, and then let's just say some stuff happened. My drive went out the window. My desire went out the window. And it took me a long time to bring those things back. It was crazy because I was super determined and super motivated when I made that New Year's Day video. I was like, yeah, this is going to be a great year. We're going to make everything happen. It's going to happen. It's going to be good. This is going to be the first year in which I post a video every single day. That didn't end up working out. I am uncertain the cause for that. One of the things that I was grappling with a lot last year is that I'm nearing closer to the days in which my father lived his last days. He was, I believe, 27 when he passed. I'm now 26, and so each counting day brings me closer to the inevitable day in which I pass how long he got to live, and this form of weirdness around that is causing a lot of mental distress with me. I want to be open and honest with you guys. I want to talk directly, and I feel that's the best course of action, is to do it that way. So I think that's probably a large portion of why I've not been doing great this last couple of years, because aside from that, for the most part, things have been good. Family drama aside, of course, you know, the getting the dog was a really big step in my life, and it was one that was not as well prepared as it should have been, and I made quite a few decisions as a result of that that ended up causing a little bit of problems. Those have been worked out now, and I feel much more comfortable in my relationships with my family again, but I'm still grieving the pain that I felt from then. And on top of that, of course, uh, grappling with, as I just mentioned, the inevitable ticking and passage of time that is counting down the days in which I surpass my father, which is such a weird thing. I wrote a poem about it in college when I was going to Dickinson in 2016. That was basically like my grandfather, paternally, like he passed when he was 22, I believe, and so that period of time was pretty rough for me. Um, he worked with electricity. He was an electrician, and he ended up in an accident with his electrical work, we'll say. And then my dad committed suicide when he was 27-ish. And so I've had this weird worry about that being like a curse passed down from father to son. And trying to get past that has been a massive mental toll, amongst all of the other myriad issues that I've had throughout my life of, the typical life stuff, being bullied for my weight, being bullied for the fact that I cried a lot and I had a lot of emotions and stuff. Being a man who wants to express his emotions in a world where he's told he can't, and so he has to hold them back. Um, all of these things have been really difficult. However, I come on this show, and I come onto the Jackhammer 13 as a YouTube channel to try and escape from a lot of those things. And originally that was sort of my intent, my purpose, alongside, of course, the idea of making videos that could eventually become a living was an original purpose. And of course, as time went on, making videos with friends became another purpose. So I've had to sort of restructure my mindset around YouTube as well. It's been a long time coming, but I think that now that I'm up and opening up a little bit more in my real life, I should start doing the same thing on this YouTube channel. And as a result of that, there is a lot of stuff that needs to come out at certain points. But for right now, I'm going to leave it as that. And I'll answer the next question that many of you probably have been asking. What have I been doing? And the main answer has been, I've been working DoorDash. That's been my main life, is working DoorDash whenever I can and taking care of my girlfriend. She has a rare disorder that I think she would prefer to talk about herself when she is comfortable. But I'm just going to say that it has been another stressor in my life, seeing her go through this, knowing how kind and generous a person she is, and seeing her go through a very hard period of time in her life in which not only is her body failing her, but her support network is failing her too. It's pretty much just her dad and me who have been here with her for the majority of her time struggling with this, and it's been hard. Really, really, really hard on her, and equally hard on me because I don't like seeing her in pain. I don't like seeing her suffer. And because this is a chronic illness, the pain is consistent. It's a daily thing, and I have to often remind myself that. And that work, taking care of the doggos, and the occasional like getting out of town trips that she and I take for our mental health. We went to Maryland, partially for the YouTube thing, partially to see my friends, partially because we needed to. We've been to Branson, which is nearby here, to go to a theme park. Um, Likely we'll be doing that again. We got season passes for the next season. So you guys will get to see that. We go on little shopping trips every now and again to local places, Fort Smith, Tulsa, all that stuff. And occasionally we'll take just road trips. Tennessee is a place that we really liked going to. And of course I go back to Maryland to see my family and friends when I can as well. I've shown some of those things. I would have liked to have shown more. I had footage for more, but I've decided that it's in my best interest to not look to the past with those types of things too much and to look more to the future. I do have some things from the past that I like to share at some point at the right venue. Most of it is Game Squad related, but I'm going to talk with Jordan before I start doing any of that. And yeah, I recently have been recording The Longest Journey. In 2022 or 2021, I can't remember exactly which, I was recording First Day of the Rest of My Life content. Some of that I may still have that I can send in some way, shape, or form in videos, but I'm not sure. I had If My Heart Had Wings, which I'm going to be editing soon, and I had PokeMMO stuff, which I'm going to be editing soon. And during the second season of the Game Squad SMP, I also recorded quite a lot of content for that. Some of it got lost when my computer died, but I have some of the rest of it on this computer here that I'm currently using. And so I'm going to edit some of that, and I'll be posting that as soon as possible. So with that, let's get into the next big question everybody has on their mind. What does the future hold for the Jackhammer 13? You're talking a lot about different things that you want to post, things that you have, but let's get some more specifics, shall we? So until I can find my Elgato, the Persona series is on pause. So that's going to be an indefinite pause. I will be coming back to it. If I have to emulate it as a means of being able to record it, I will do that. And I will try to do that sooner than later. But I will look around for my Elgato to see if I can find it. And if I do decide to emulate it, I may just restart the series and come back to it that way, because I don't think I'm very far into it. And if I decide not to restart the series, then I'll just get back to where I was, and we'll come back with me facing off against the Mech Rat a little bit more prepared this time. Yeah, Revelations Persona will be on hold indefinitely until I can find the Elgato or until I decide otherwise. I will keep you guys in the loop on that. Something that I wanted to do with this First Day series that I talked about in 2021, I do believe, was that I wanted to do donations as a result of the swear jar thing. I finally have the disposable income and means to do so. It's part of what I've been saving up for. One, to get a place of our own, but also to eventually do these donations. And so I'm excited to say that I'll be doing those for the next First Day. The first donation out of 12 that I will be doing this year. Plus, I have a secret 13th thing that I'll be showing for you guys at the last First Day episode at the end of this year. So I'm going to be doing donations once a month. And I originally was considering doing $1,000 donations. However, because of my girlfriend's concerns, I've decided to lower those to $100, simply because it's easier on our bank account. And while it is a bit less than I originally intended on giving, I think it's still more than what the original swear jar counter was at for the amount of swears that I had said and what the original purpose of it was. So $1,300 is probably more than I think the $300 that I had already sworn up, to pardon the pun. So yeah, the first one of those will be going up on the next episode of the First Day next week, and I will be doing that donation probably early this week. I don't have any social medias currently, except for this YouTube, because once Twitter started making a lot of the changes that it made, I decided it was no longer a place where I felt comfortable putting my content or saying things that I wanted to say or being myself. And I'm going to be honest with you, I had an addiction to getting into arguments that were political. And so I think that the brand image from Twitter, at X as it's now called, but I'm gonna keep calling it Twitter because you guys know. Um, I think that I want to move away from that, and at some point I'll set up some new social medias at some point to continue interacting with you guys. But for the meantime, just gonna be here on YouTube, and I will do my best to remember that in the future I would like to have my Discord um, stuff shareable in some way, shape, or form. I don't know if I want to do a Jackhammer 13 uh, Discord server, if I want to just invite everybody to go join the Game Squad Discord server so that we can talk there. I'm not entirely certain what I want to do, and so that's again another question I'm going to have with my friends about re-entering the YouTube scene and talking with them, a bit further about this kind of stuff. This will be the first time that they hear about it if they watch First Day before I can get to them. So, hi guys. Sorry I didn't get to you guys sooner. Something else that I would like to do before I get onto my schedule is talk about streams. So, I have attempted to do streams one time, and I was going to show it in my 10-year video, but I decided against it simply because I didn't actually record the stream. I recorded the game that I tried to stream. There was a lot of confusion along with that. But like what I like to do is do some streams, and I'm thinking about starting them in March because I have something big prepared for the month of February, with me and Emily, in which I won't be here very much. And I believe that if I'm doing streams, I should probably be connected to Ethernet, simply so that the quality and the speeds are much better. And so I'm likely more than likely going to do that later. And I also want to tinker with it a little bit, so I'll probably do some test streams here and there. If you're able to catch those, cool. But those aren't like the kind of streams that I want to do. So, yeah, without further ado, let's talk about our schedule, and then I'll start wrapping the video up. So on what my goals are to have a video or two every single day of the week. To begin with, it's not going to be that much, simply because it's going to be harder for me to do that much with what I currently have. A lot of the stuff that I would like to do needs to be recorded in advance, just so that I have backlogs of it in case I need to go out on vacation or something. So I don't know when we'll get to the 2 videos a day, but I'm going to slowly work my way up to that. So, because I'm trying to do a video every single day, let's talk about what those days are going to be like. On Mondays, we're going to be doing the PokeMMO. That has been originally done on Fridays, but I've got a new thing for Fridays, a thing that I'm really excited to share with you guys, and a thing that I'll get to when I get to Friday on this calendar. So MMO will be for the first week, and then eventually I'll go back to it. However, the reason why it's taking over Mondays currently is because of the Minecraft series that I originally had on Mondays. I don't have enough of that edited right now to feel comfortable posting it on Monday, or say that I can post it tomorrow on Monday. And so the MMO is much easier for me to edit, surprisingly, than the Minecraft series is. And so I'm going to be posting the MMO tomorrow on Monday, for the first week, and then I will finish off the Minecraft series on Mondays. And then once it's finished, we'll go back to the MMO on Mondays. And eventually, what I plan on doing, either be it in March or be it a little bit later, I'm going to be doing all-day streams on Mondays. Since Mondays are sort of my day off because there's not a whole lot of orders on DoorDash and Uber, I'm going to be doing all-day streams on them. And the game plan for that is for me to play the PokeMMO, such that you guys can join in with me live for it. But until the current run that I'm on dies or completes, the MMO, if I do decide to do that, will be simply just a practice kind of thing, where I get to hang out with you guys, talk a little bit, get to learn a few things about the game so that I can prepare myself further, that kind of thing. And then once I've either lost the run or completed the run, then we'll decide upon what we do for that. More than likely, it will be that I do the MMO on stream, and probably play about 2 episodes worth of it. And then the week after that, I'll do something else on that stream instead of the MMO. That way I have backlog, but I don't get too far ahead, so that if you're watching the streams, you're like 5 episodes ahead or whatever. That'll make a bit more sense when it's happening. But I think that's the best I can explain that currently. So Mondays, MMO for the first week, this week. Then I'll go back to Minecraft until that series is finished. And then we'll be going back to the MMO. So yeah, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I wanted to continue doing what I was doing previously, where I had the longest journey, and Persona. However, because Persona is on an indefinite pause, it's just going to be a longest journey on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Eventually, I will re-add Persona to that, but for now, it's just going to be longest journey. On Wednesdays, I will have If My Heart Had Wings, and then at some points, probably in March as well, that way I can give myself a little bit of time to prepare, we'll go back to reading a novel together. Because I didn't get to finish Dune, I think Dune will be the first one. And if you want to prepare ahead of time for that, be my guest. But yeah, it's sort of just going to be a real read-along. I'll say, okay, we're going to be doing Dune this week. Here are the first, 50, 60 pages, whatever it is we decide to do, that we'll read together, and then we'll come back and talk about it. And what I'd like to eventually get around to doing is YouTube streams of that, where we basically have a book club talk. But that's something that I'm going to be considering later on. I don't think we'll be doing that for the first novel. I think the first novel will just be all, I read, you come back to talk to me, to listen to me talk about the book and my thoughts on it and stuff like that. And then if enough support is shown for that, then we'll start doing streams. Because while I'd like to be a variety channel, certain things may not go over with the audience as much as I'd like them to. So either we'll do streams because there's enough interest, or I'll just stick to reading the book alongside you guys and have it be sort of like I talk about my thoughts and then you guys can sound off in the comments below. A little bit more booktuber style. As I mentioned before, Tuesdays and Thursdays, same day. So it's basically just going to be a longest journey until I can figure out the Persona situation, and then we add that. On Fridays, this first Friday for this week, will be Minecraft. And then I've got a new series that I'm going to be debuting called Michael Makes Up Shit. And more or less what that series is going to be is me finding things that I find interesting in the world and just trying to figure out why they do the things that they do. A good example of this is my first ever concept for the idea that I had, and what may be the first episode, but I'm not entirely certain just yet, is phobias. So, for example, the fear of fear itself, right? I have no idea what the proper word for that is, but because I have a decent understanding of words and how they work, I would say phobia. The fear of fear, and then we would go and search it and see if that's actually what it is, and I'd have, a nice little time talking with you guys about the history of the word, how the etymology came about, who decided to name it the way that it was named, that kind of stuff, and just be all around educational, while also just being a perfect place for me to bullshit you guys into believing the thing that I think that it is, so that when we get around to the actual answer, you're just like, wow, okay, that's completely different from what he said, or how the hell did he guess that? He was BSing the entire time and he got here. So that's going to be a fun series. And also on Fridays, I'm going to be doing music reviews. This first week, we're going to be talking about Hailstorm. That should be a really fun time. I have a good long list of people that I'm going to be talking about. But if you have any interest in sending me people to talk about, please continue. Please go ahead and do that, rather, not continue. Go ahead and do that in the comment section of those videos. because I would very much like more music recommendations. However, for quite a while, I'm going to be working on the ones that I have. I've written out about a year's worth, and because about a month late, I'm about a month late in that as well. However, I'm also still going to be doing a bunch of stuff from my personal Spotify, and what I plan on doing is when I have enough of a like following of people who want to support me, and I decide to make a Patreon. No idea when that will be. This year, next year, never. I will be doing a more batch recording on that Patreon, in which I'll be talking about a bunch of different smaller bands that don't have nearly as many albums, or that are a bit less big than, Hailstorm or Pink Floyd, who's another group that I'm thinking about doing, or so on, right? Um, so we'll get to talk about those in a much faster fashion, where I get to share my thoughts in a very similar way. So what the music series is going to basically be is a review of the entire discography up to the point of when I record it. So for Hailstorm, they're an existing band that still is recording albums, still touring and all that. So I'm just going to review what they have released thus far. And if they decide to release something on the day after I post the video, then oh well, I'll have to do that another time perhaps. It's not going to be a super in-depth of each and every album, just sort of a quicker review of each album and my thoughts and just overall process of how that band works. Also going to be a little bit more educational, and all around should be a lot of fun. I know that I'm going to get a lot of hate in the comments for different opinions that I have, because there's some people on here, I'm not going to spoil right now, who I am dreading making the video of because of the fan bases that they have and my thoughts on them. Perhaps my thoughts will change when I've listened to their entire discography, but to this point, I've listened to a decent number of their songs, and I'm not liking their odds, and I'm not liking my odds for how the YouTube comments are going to respond to it. But I think it's going to be fun. On Saturdays, I'm going to be debuting a new podcast known as the BBW Podcast. Not what you're thinking. No, it's basketball, baseball, and wrestling. Those are my three favorite sports, and I'm going to be doing about 13 minutes of each single sport in a podcast format in which I talk about my favorite teams, the sports in general, and in the case of wrestling, my favorite company and the wrestlers in general, and just give you guys a little bit of insight into a different side of myself. Those videos are going to be less than an hour long, because I'm going to have an intro, the 13 minutes of each one, and then an outro. So it will be a nice little fun thing you can put on in the background. If you have no interest in sports whatsoever, don't you worry. I'm going to try and appeal to you as well. But if you do have an interest in sports, that podcast is going to be fun and enjoyable for you. Another thing I'd like to do on Saturdays is also stream. Because I'm going to be working on most Saturdays, the streams would probably be about 3 or 4 hours, and they would be in the nighttime. Again, not until March am I going to be doing that. But that's so that I can play games with my friends, because most of them work during a normal work week of Monday through Friday. And so in order to give them a little bit more time to play games with me and do more multiplayer stuff, I'll be doing streams on Saturdays as well as Mondays. That way we don't have to worry about missing out on that. And I'm also going to have an extra slot for Saturdays. As a result of that, when the MMO is kicked off of Mondays, the MMO will be going there. I also have another series that I'm planning on doing at some point, in which I do reviews of various apps and stuff that I've looked at over the years. Give you a concept on whether or not you should use them, and my thoughts and recommendations thereof. Then on Sundays, we're going to be doing First Day of the Rest of My Life, as always. And I'm also going to be doing my other podcasts. So if Cameron and I continue to do the EC podcast, which I will be talking with him momentarily, as in within the next few days, we'll be doing an EC podcast probably once every month. We may decide on a little bit longer period of time or a shorter period of time, depending on what he and I want to do. Because we're in completely different time zones right now, like not just Central Time Zone and Eastern Time Zone, but like he's living in Japan. It's kind of harder, but I do believe that we'll make it work. So EC podcast would also be going up on Sundays, and the Mike-ochondriac podcast will be going up once a month on Sundays. I'm probably going to be doing the last weekend of the month. However, because this is the last weekend of January, there will be no Mike-ochondriac podcast for January. However, because we're doing a leap year, and it's a special time of thing, like every 4 years it happens, we get a leap year, it's a really special occasion, I think I'm going to do two Mike-ochondriac podcasts in the month of February. So look forward to those. I think it'll be for the first weekend of February and the last weekend of February. So yeah, that's everything. So you guys now have my schedule. I'm going to go ahead and post it somewhere else as well, possibly in the description of this so you can look at it. I may do it on my Facebook, not entirely certain, and I will probably find a way to do it on my Discord for those of you who are already friends with me, just so you can keep an eye on it and understand it. Until then, I've been the Jackhammer 13. Thank you guys for listening. And of course, as always, I am signing out. However, today is the first day of the rest of your life. So go live it, guys. Thanks for watching.